Why am I so tired? Do a reading. Why am I so tired? Let's see. Why is Laura so tired? They're showing a part of you on high alert.
For centipedes?
Yeah, she was like karate chopping and doing ninja moves and stuff. And it's yeah, it's like especially now when you're sleeping, because since you saw the centipede in the bed, it's like a part of you is staying close to the surface so that if there's movement, she can wake you up. Your face is amazing.
So tonight, maybe because they've been here to spray, I can just relax.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like she was just trying to get you to the spraying so that you could calm down. Because I get you, it feels like you kept maybe going over I thought I felt something tickling my foot. I should have gotten up and checked. Then I might have seen it. And so that, like, this other part of you was like, you know what? I'll just like, I'll stand guard for us.
Mm-hmm. Great. It's like a dolphin. So half its brain is awake all night.
Yeah, exactly. It's like me, half my brain's awake waiting to see what Shiva needs in the middle of the night all the
Yeah, I
time.
think that's exhausting.
It
Being
is.
human is so tiring.
It takes a toll.
I mean,
So yeah, when you go to bed tonight, just tell her, like, just remind her, today they sprayed, everything is fine, and we're gonna sleep really well.
yeah, because when my dad had sprayed the last couple times, there was a long period of time before they showed back up again.
Yeah,
But they've been gone for 4 months, so
so it's been a minute.
yeah.
All right, cool.
Okay, I have another question, and then you can have one. You know how the other day they were like, we're ahead of ourselves, but set a deadline for your course?
Yeah.
Do you want to give us we set a deadline. What do they think about that?
They're snapping. They like it. They're like, it doesn't, like, first of all, we're going to tell you this, but we don't want you to change the date of the course. But you're far enough ahead of the curve that you could have set the date anytime this year, would have been fine. Maybe even any time next year would have been fine. But the reason that they wanted us to set the date is because it's like our human needed the date. I think we talked about this too. It's like the fear of not being where we want to be when we need to be there. It like, it's not that it runs on a track or it runs on a loop, but it's kind of this program that sits there that gets activated when either one of us starts to think, oh my God, like what if we missed the opportunity? Like, what if it passed us by? What if we weren't at the right place at the right time? We missed the train. And so they're just like, that's going to keep you. That's going to put you in a position to not ever miss the train. And you know that, and that's why you let it sit there. But setting this date for the course was so that part of you could relax. So then it's like you could have the full access of your faculties to put into the creative efforting of creating the course.
Oh, wow.
Otherwise, if we hadn't set the date and we were working on the course, that part of each of us would constantly be like, oh my God, like, are we behind schedule? Like, are we missing the opportunity? Like, is somebody else gonna like do this course and make our course irrelevant? Like, they would have been spiraling through all of the what ifs. And now that part can be like, okay, cool.
That's good. So in the next couple, like whatever, we're on time or ahead of time. I got it. The deadline is for humans to calm the fuck down. It's typical humans. And did I have another question about that? I don't think so. All right, cool. Well, that's exciting news.
Well, wait, now they're not done. Now they want to elaborate a little bit further.
Okay.
Now they just want to remind us and anyone that might be listening if we post this that when things start playing on repeat or on a loop in your head, it's time to pay attention. Like there's some, like it's trying to get our attention in some way. And that loop eats up energy. Whether that means that it makes us tired, or it makes us cranky, or it dehydrates us, or it makes us like comfort eat or soothe maybe in other ways that aren't healthy. Like it eats at us essentially. So if it's on loop, you need to pay attention. You need to do something about it.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, that's true for when we are doing readings on people or each other, and they'll just keep saying the same thing over and over again until you say it.
And sometimes
Even
they
if you're
get
like,
louder and louder.
yeah, even if you're like, well, sometimes you're just in the middle of talking about something else. So you don't want to disrupt that flow, but then it'll come back in so that it comes forward. Yeah. Yeah. So like, what was on the loop? What did they like doing the course was on the loop, or like getting a deadline? Did you have a deadline loop in your head?
What my loop was that was playing was like this almost a constant reminder, like we were going to forget about it or something, or get distracted with other things. But it's like we need to work on it. 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 And I'd just be like, okay. And it felt like, for me, it felt like it was my own self afraid that too much time would get away from us and we'd like lose momentum or something.
Oh, right. Like the energy is present now. But I think that that's so interesting, because I do think that's true for some things, but I feel like when it's like so much of a part of your purpose, it can't get away from you. Like you almost can't avoid it. Like this was an Abraham Hicks video I watched actually, and they were talking about how it's almost like if it's kind of part of your purpose, and like they're kind of talking about, I think it was like about procrastination actually. And they were kind of saying, look, the energy is going to build up at some point so much that you actually can't avoid doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you feel like you're procrastinating right now, it's like at some point you won't be able to avoid it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's so interesting, because it's like this balance between like, am I procrastinating, or is the energy just not fully there yet?
Mm-hmm.
That you have to kind of like figure out. Yeah.
Well, I think it ties back into that reading we did for, her name just left me. She sent us the email. Christy.
Yeah, I'm not gonna remember that shit. I'm fucking perimenopausal.
Anyway, she sent an email about the whole magnets and how the closer you get to the thing that you're trying to manifest coming into reality, like it's almost like when magnets push each other away, is that energy of sort of like feeling like you're getting farther away instead of closer to it. And so that's what the energy feels like now as I look back on it, and having had that reading for her, which is, it's like the drumbeat was getting louder because we had put the effort in that day that we worked to do the outline. So it's like all of a sudden the energy was there, the clarity was there, and then we both like had to pull off and work on other priorities because, that's just the way it was, and it was the right thing to do. But it's like the drumbeat was just like, don't forget, don't forget, don't forget, don't get distracted with other priorities after these, like come back. And then as soon as we set the deadline, like the drumbeat stopped. I haven't thought about it again. It's like, okay, we have a deadline, and so clearly we're going to work to that deadline.
Yeah. Okay, cool. That's really interesting. Yeah, I was going to ask you when the drumbeat started, like if it was basically before we listened to the talk tapes episode 4, or after from the telepathy tapes, talk tapes, because that was like such a momentous episode for me and for you and for everything.
It was after, because prior to that, I was like, we had this idea or this knowing, it felt like a knowing that we were supposed to do this thing, but I wouldn't have been able to describe what the thing was other than using the phrase that we've come up with to describe it. But I wouldn't have been able to go farther than to be like, oh yeah, we're going to teach people to, dial up their whisper, tune into their whisper. And that would have been like, and yeah, we're still going to figure out how we're going to do that. But then that episode like created all these distinctions and level of clarity for me that I was like, oh, I get it now. I know how we're doing it. Okay.
Yeah, it's insanity. Like she just described every single thing that we ever talk about and that we're doing, like that we've done and are doing to like have these clear open channels and to keep doing our inner work so that the channel is clear. It's all there. It's insane. That alignment was crazy. And I've just like, I listened to it on the airplane and I just sat there and like rewrote and rewrote and rewrote. And I thought about everything on our website and I thought about everything that we're doing. And I'm like, where do we put this? Where do we put that? Where does that go? And like, then I made ChatGPT outline it for me, as you do. And then it was like, we had that meeting and it was like, this is it. Okay.
Well, and simultaneously, while you're doing all of like this reworking, Laura is a former teacher, excellent at writing coursework and putting together outlines, teaching outlines. It's like every time I listen to that episode, I would get all fired up and be like, oh my God, I have so many great ideas. I can't wait to get somewhere so that I can write them down. But I was like always driving or walking or doing something else, so I couldn't actually take notes. And then when I did finally sit down to write notes, it was like I was completely blank.
That's so funny.
Like I wrote the most basic shit down. I was like, what happened to all those genius ideas that were floating around? And I was so embarrassed when Laura and I like sat down to meet. And I was like, this is all I could come up with, but like I know that there's so much more here. And then you went through your outline. I was like, that's fucking it. Like that was the shit that was floating around in my head that just disappeared. And then I heard them say, right, you didn't need to do the work. Laura was doing it.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Like I just needed to get in the alignment of the energy so that when you presented it back, I could be like, yes, yes, yes,
well,
yes, yes.
And this was really interesting too, because it was your idea, which would never have occurred to me, but it was fucking perfect. It was your idea to be like, look, we need to like sit down and think about the design, re-listen to this episode, think about the design of the course separately. Because there is something that happens when we're together trying to brainstorm.
Yeah,
Like
it's just too
there
much.
needs to be a framework first, I think. I think it works like if there's a framework and we're adjusting and editing, it works. But it's like we need to be in our own energy to do brainstorming work.
Yeah, that
what I mean?
makes sense. Yeah.
Like from when there's a blank slate, it just was like that. It just worked out so well because it gave, well, each of us the freedom to have our own process, which was really important.
Yeah, because my process was shite and your process was amazing. It worked out though. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, well, it's just different skill sets. Yeah, I'm pretty excited. That wraps this episode of One Card Shy. Did you love it? Leave us a review, share it with your friends, and sign up for our monthly crown straightener. Bonus, you'll get our free Claim Your Crown guide when you subscribe.
And be sure to find us on Instagram and check out our website. Both are rainworld.co. All the links are below. See you next time, Queens.